going down, man. The Clintons, this is where originally the administration that really started with is the Clintons. Uh, the Epstein files, all the stuff going on. They're not showing up for their hearings. Congress calling for a hearing. What's up with hey, America? What's going on? What's going on with the President Clinton? Why is he not showing up to congressional hearing like everybody else? The president has been showing up before. Nixon sort of a congressional hearing. Other presidents have sort of congressional hearings. President Trump sort of congressional hearings. Uh, all these presidents have. What's going on with the Clinton? Guys, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's get into this video. Reaction. News reaction.
Now, Hillary Clinton's supposed to show up tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. But with respect to the former president, he did not show up today. We will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress.
Contempt proceedings against a former president. Now, Bill Clinton was scheduled to sit down with the House Oversight Committee today as part of its Jeffrey Epstein investigation. That's certainly what the committee wanted. CNN's Annie Greer is on Capitol Hill. Annie, this is an extraordinary moment that I'm sure will lead to several more extraordinary moments in the coming week or two. But what we just saw from the chairman is precisely what was predicted in a very lengthy, very hot statement that the former president and his wife, the former Secretary of State and First Lady, just released a letter to James Comer. Explain.
So, Dana, what we're headed towards next is potentially lengthy and even unprecedented legal battle now that Comer has announced that he's going to move forward with contempt proceedings against both Bill and Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary has one more option for her deposition date tomorrow, but from the letter that Bill and Hillary Clinton sent to Comer directly this morning, they lay out exactly why they are not planning to appear for their depositions. And this is after months of back and forth, Dana, between the Clintons' legal attorneys and the Oversight Committee, where the Clintons have maintained that these subpoenas are not valid, that they are willing to provide written testimony, and that the committee has even granted this option of written testimony to at least 7 of the other witnesses that they've subpoenaed in this investigation. So why not grant them to the Clintons here? And in this letter that you mentioned that Bill and Hillary Clinton wrote to Comer, I want to read for you a piece of it that just shows the stakes that both the former president and First Lady and Secretary of State understand here. They say, quote, "Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time." Now, Comer maintains he still has a lot of questions for the Clintons. He wants to know about Epstein's relationship with them, but Bill Clinton has never been accused of any wrongdoing, and we are now going to see how far House Republicans are going to take this.
Yeah, we sure will. Thank you so much, Annie. And back here at the table, Bill Clinton, the former president, and the former First Lady and Secretary of State, also, in addition to that letter, sent declarations of what they do and do not know to the chairman. So much in this letter, because it's pretty long. You accepted the least from those who know the most, but demand the most from those who know the least. To say you can't complete your work without speaking to us is simply bizarre. And then, just as Annie was saying, the rallying cry that they have written in this to Democrats and to Americans who they know want to see their leaders fight, they're clearly providing a roadmap and a place to rally behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting decision. We obviously saw when we did get some Epstein files last month, the White House, the Justice Department made very clear they want to focus on the Clintons. That was a big part of the first initial release. We can expect now the House to try and continue this moving forward. I think that was really the point of all of this.
Republicans on the House Oversight Committee point out that last year's vote to subpoena Clinton and his wife Hillary, the former Secretary of State, was bipartisan.
So no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions, and that's why the Democrats voted along with Republicans to subpoena Bill Clinton. This is the amount of preparation that went into this deposition today. These were the questions that we were prepared to ask. We've communicated with President Clinton's legal team for months now, giving them opportunity after opportunity.
Hillary Clinton's deposition is set for tomorrow, but she won't be appearing either. In a letter to Committee Chair Comer explaining their no-shows, the Clintons' lawyer says, quote, subpoenas themselves are nothing more than a ploy to attempt to embarrass political rivals, as President Trump has directed. Let's turn now to CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig, a former federal prosecutor. All right, Ellie.
Okay, do you agree? Do you agree with this? Do you think the Clintons, the former President Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton are avoiding the subpoenas from a congressional hearing? Do you think that's a proper protocol? Do you think they're trying to make things more better for them not to be able to attend this subpoena? Do you think it's just a showmanship from the administration that's in power? Because we have known the subpoenas was given out to other people under different administrations, under Democratic, Republican administrations right now, and under Democrat administrators when we had a Democratic president in office. To change the fact that doesn't mean the party has the right to still. The Congress has the right to bring you in, although the executive branch is led by whatever party members it is, the opposing party, I would say. Do you think it's right that the Congress subpoena you to come, should you show up or should you not? What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. They refuse to show up. They got their lawyers in place. They're sending letters to the Congress and let them know why they're not going to attend, and that they think it's just showmanship. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. That's what the Clintons said, allegedly.
The Clintons' argument here that the subpoenas are not related to a valid legislative purpose. What do you make of that?
Well, here's the problem, Brianna. The Clintons have taken a risk in the way they've gone about this. They could have gone to court weeks ago when they received these subpoenas and made precisely that argument. And maybe they will go to court in the future and maybe they will win. But as we sit here right now, what we have is a valid subpoena from Congress that says you are to appear on today's date. We have Bill Clinton no showing, and we do not have a court order saying this subpoena is invalid. Now, it seems what's going to happen from here, if Congress does pursue contempt, is Bill Clinton will then go into courts and challenge the subpoena. But by waiting to do that, he's taking the risk of being held in contempt first.
So they also say they're willing to certify their draft declarations. That is what the statement from the lawyer says. They say that there are other subpoenaed witnesses who have not had to appear in person. What do you make of that? I mean, are those witnesses facing different circumstances than the Clintons?
Yeah, all of those are fair points. And the Clintons' core argument is that this subpoena does not have a valid legislative purpose. Congress is saying, well, we need to hear from the Clintons because we're considering new legislation having to do with sex trafficking. And the Clintons are arguing that that's not a valid purpose. There's no connection between what the Clintons might know about Jeffrey Epstein and some sort of future legislation. The point, though, is in the end, it's up to Congress how they want to treat witnesses. Sometimes, if you're a member of Congress, you accept written declarations. Sometimes you accept behind closed doors depositions, and sometimes you insist on public testimony. Congress really has the power there. So if Clinton's legal team is able to get together with Congress and work out some sort of mid-ground, some sort of agreement and arrangement, then they can go with that. But ultimately, the Clintons are not the ones in the power position here. Congress is the ones with the subpoena power, and Republicans control Congress. And as you noted earlier, this was a unanimous, not just bipartisan, but unanimous vote to subpoena the Clintons.
So where does this go from here? If Congress can pursue a contempt of Congress proceeding here, what happens?
So Congress now has an important strategic decision to make. If they choose to go to contempt first, which seems like they're going to do, they do run the risk that the Clintons then go to court and get a ruling that the subpoenas were invalid. If that happens, it undercuts, probably ends any contempt. The other alternative is Congress can wait till this plays out in the court. And if Congress wins, if the subpoena is deemed to be valid and the Clintons still do not comply, then they can go seek contempt. But important to know, if and when Congress does issue contempt, the next step is the case then goes over to the Justice Department, which has the ability at that point to bring criminal contempt charges. That's been done in the last administration. We saw criminal contempt charges against Roger Stone and others. Peter Navarro went to jail because of that. So that is an option. I know it's an extreme option, but the way this works is Congress finds in contempt first, then it gets referred over to DOJ, and it'll ultimately be Pam Bondi's call whether she wants to pursue criminal contempt if we get to that point.
It's important, Ellie, to note that authorities have not accused Bill Clinton of wrongdoing at this point, right? But as we saw the release of a lot of Epstein documents, we also saw photos, a lot of photos that included Bill Clinton, including some where he is in photos with a woman in at least 2 cases where their face is redacted, raising questions if he's in a photo with a woman who is a known or possible victim, right?
Yeah, and that's probable cause, guys. That's probable cause for this proceeding for Congress to have come in and ask these questions about Epstein's files and probe the Epstein's files and everything. And another thing, you're avoiding coming into and then you write this refusal letter. So you're actually showing so many presumptuous ways of want the Congress to ask you certain particular questions. You can't avoid this because you're a former president. So you have to come before the Congress. Congress is a power, and they want to speak to you. Now that it's going over to possible criminal the criminal investigation to have you come in. I don't know the term per se. I would just say this: allegedly, they're going to you refuse to subpoena to come, and now they're going to have you come regardless. And this is where the fight gonna go. I guess this is gonna go to court. As they said previously, they're going to court about this and fight not to show up. And the Clintons they don't believe this is a circus show in so many words. It's just to try to make them look bad or something. I assume. But who knows the real truth about that? Only them. And we waited. The American people waiting from the Congress so we could hear the deposition, so we could hear what's going on. We could hear what the Clintons have to say. Without further ado, what do you think? Leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Is the Clintons ducking this because they might have some compromising photos or situations in the Epstein file that they don't want to answer to? Is there other reason behind this? What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below.
And that sort of challenges, I think, what we knew, at least publicly, coming from his spokesperson. So what kind of information would members of Congress want to know from Bill Clinton with that in mind?
Well, I think that's precisely what's animating this dispute here. It is important to note there's a certain stigma to getting a subpoena. A subpoena does not necessarily mean anyone did anything wrong. Witnesses get subpoenas because they have relevant information. But let's be real. If Bill Clinton is to appear for a deposition, I promise you members of that committee, Republicans, are going to slide those very photos in front of Bill Clinton and demand specifics about what he was doing there, who else is in those photos, why he was there. So I don't think the Clintons are under any illusion that that's not going to happen. And I would speculate that that's exactly why they're fighting against this so far. If they were just bystanders on a corner and witnessed a traffic accident, I don't think they would have any resistance to going in and testifying. But this is going to be ugly politically for Bill Clinton any way you slice it.
Ultimately, do you think he'll have to answer those questions?
I mean, it could be that he is compelled by the courts. The courts could say this is a valid subpoena. If that happens, then yes, Bill Clinton will have to answer questions. Again, his lawyers are going to push for some sort of arrangement involving written answers or closed door testimony. But ultimately, the courts will resolve this. And if the courts find this is a valid subpoena and it's related to some sort of valid legislative purpose, then yes, he will have to answer questions. The fact that he's a former president, Hillary Clinton's a former Secretary of State, is not going to change the calculus whatsoever here. There's no privilege that survives that long after the fact.
Ellie Honig.
So this is the facts. So here they have no privilege. They has no power. They're not in a power position. They're not over Congress. Hillary Clinton is not Secretary of State anymore. They've been out of office years. President Clinton has been out. They have nothing to stand on. Just come and show up. And if they don't, then they could go forward to a different other action. I suppose, or allegedly, possibly, but they won't have to show up. And then I guess now the whole, I'm sorry, the House of Congress don't have to accept no letter if they choose not. They want you in person. They want you in person. So you can fight all you want, but you don't have no power to stand on. Do you think the former President Clinton, Bill Clinton, and the First Lady Hillary Clinton has a leg to stand on about not coming before Congress with the subpoena? Do you think the Clintons have any power to reject what the House or any branch of government had to say if they want to bring them before, or any federal agency? Can they refuse? They can refuse, but you think they're gonna have complications that's negatively going to impact them? What is your opinion? Leave me a comment down below. I would like to hear from you. This is interesting.